Two young girls vanished without a trace. 4 long years passed and hope was almost gone. Families mourned, neighbors whispered, and the case went cold. But then, one afternoon, a K9 dog barked at a locked cellar door, and what police found behind it shocked the entire town forever. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. 4 years ago, a small town was shattered by the disappearance of 2 young girls. One moment, they were laughing in the park. The next, they had vanished without a trace. Panic spread quickly. Parents clutched their children tighter. Doors were locked earlier, and fear lingered in every street corner. The police launched an immediate search. Helicopters hovered above, officers scoured the woods, and volunteers formed endless lines combing through fields. Posters with the girls' faces covered every lamppost and store window. But as days turned into weeks, no clue appeared. It was as if the earth had swallowed them whole. Hope slowly faded. Their parents never stopped waiting by the window, praying for a miracle. But the case files gathered dust in the station. The mystery remained unsolved, leaving behind only silence, pain, and unanswered questions. 4 years later, the town had changed, but the shadow of that tragedy still lingered. New families had moved in, children played in the park again, but everyone remembered the 2 faces that never came home. The case was cold, yet the memory remained etched in every heart. Quiet afternoon. Police received a call about suspicious noises near a neighbor's property. It seemed routine, perhaps a trespasser, maybe just animals. But Officer Mark and his loyal K9 partner Rex were dispatched to check it out. Neither of them knew that day would be different from any other. What began as a simple patrol would soon lead them straight into the heart of a mystery that had haunted the town for years. As Mark walked across the yard, Rex suddenly froze. His ears perked, his body stiffened, and a low growl rumbled from his chest. Mark knew this wasn't random. Rex was trained to detect danger, and when he reacted like this, it meant something was wrong. The dog's eyes locked onto the old wooden cellar door at the back of the property. Without hesitation, Rex lunged forward, barking furiously, his paws scratching against the weathered wood. The sound was sharp, urgent, more than just a warning. Officers nearby exchanged puzzled looks. There were no signs of drugs, explosives, or weapons. Yet Rex refused to calm down, barking louder, almost desperate. Mark's heart pounded. He had worked with Rex long enough to trust his instincts. Whatever was behind that door, it wasn't ordinary. Something was waiting to be uncovered. The officers moved quickly, securing the area with bright yellow tape as curious neighbors gathered at the edge of the lawn. Whispers spread like wildfire. What could possibly be hidden behind the locked cellar door? Children were pulled closer to their parents while others stood frozen, unable to look away. Mark gripped his flashlight tighter, his eyes fixed on Rex, who was now nearly clawing through the wood. The cellar door was old but reinforced, its heavy metal lock rusted yet stubborn. With each hit of the crowbar, the wood groaned, but still it held. Tension in the air grew unbearable. Rex barked louder, frantic, as if time was running out. Finally, with a sharp crack, the lock snapped. The door creaked open slowly, releasing a wave of damp, stale air that sent shivers through everyone present. Something long hidden was about to be revealed. For a moment, no one moved. Flashlights cut through the thick darkness as dust swirled in the stale air. The cellar was colder than expected, its walls damp, lined with old stone. Rex stood at the entrance, barking furiously, his tail rigid, every muscle coiled like a spring. Then came a faint sound, barely audible at first. A soft whimper. Officers froze, their lights darting across the room. In the far corner, huddled together on the ground, were 2 figures, pale, thin, trembling. Chains rattled faintly as one of the girls tried to shield her eyes from the sudden light. Gasps erupted from the doorway. "It's them!" One officer whispered in disbelief. "The missing girls." The room fell into stunned silence. After 4 long years, the mystery was no longer unsolved. Against all odds, they were alive. But their story was only beginning to unfold. Chaos erupted as paramedics rushed down into the cellar. The two girls, weak and frail, struggled to move. Their arms bore the marks of captivity, their voices no stronger than whispers. Tears streamed down their faces as rescuers carefully unchained them. Rex, finally calming, sat near the doorway, watching intently. His once fierce bark softened into quiet whines as though he understood his mission was complete. Mark's chest tightened at the sight. This wasn't just an arrest, this was a rescue. Above ground, neighbors cried openly as the girls were carried out on stretchers. Their parents, who had lived years in despair, collapsed to their knees, in shock and gratitude. The sound of sobs mixed with cheers as flashing ambulance lights painted the night sky. Hope, once lost, had returned in the most miraculous way. While medics worked to stabilize the girls, officers stormed the house above. Inside, they found the neighbor, a man who had lived quietly among them for years, trying to slip away through the back door. His face was pale, his hands shaking, but there was no escape. Cuffs clicked tightly around his wrists as neighbors looked on in shock. This was the man who waved at them in the mornings, who borrowed tools, who seemed ordinary. Yet behind his walls he had hidden the town's greatest nightmare. As evidence piled up, the truth became undeniable. For 4 years he had lived freely while the girls remained trapped below. It was Rex, the relentless K9, who uncovered what no one else could. The town would never forget that night. The missing girls were taken to the hospital, where doctors assured their parents they would recover with time and care. Families reunited in tears, their cries echoing with both sorrow and relief. News spread quickly. Headlines called it a miracle. But everyone knew the truth. It was Rex who had refused to give up. His instincts, sharper than any human suspicion, had led officers straight to the hidden cellar. At the station, Mark knelt beside his partner, wrapping his arms around the loyal German shepherd. "You saved them," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. Rex's tail wagged gently. To the town, he was more than a K9. He was their hero,